it's not about timing the markets, because a lot of people are timing the markets. They try to get in when things are going well and then try to jump out. It's not about timing the markets. It's about your time spent in the market.
Live with confidence, like we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Joining me in the studio on Wealth Talks tonight is Stephanie de Klerk. She is a business development consultant at Sanlam Investments. A very good evening to you and welcome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, it's 99 FM.
Yeah.
Leading commercial radio station in the country. So we're very, very excited about the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking our time to talk to us. How has the day been?
It's been okay. I mean, it's business as usual.
Yeah.
Tricky part of the year, but business as usual. Nothing too big that we can't handle. Yeah.
Talking about business, let's get right into the business of things for tonight. Tell us about Sanlam Investments for somebody who's listening and they have no idea at all.
Excellent. I'm happy to. So I think what most people are akin to or know about is really Sanlam as a group. And what we do as a business is to provide financial solutions to individuals as well as institutional clients.
Yeah.
Now, these products could be, they include individual, group, and short-term insurance, which I think most people know about.
Sure.
Personal finance services such as asset management, which is the space in which I play.
Yeah.
Estate management, trusts, home and personal loans, which is what many people don't know. Savings and linked products, as well as asset management across the board. So we're not a small animal, we're a multinational.
Yeah.
And really, Sanlam Investments, forming part of the Sanlam Group, really forms part of a diversified financial service providers with products that actually can cater to all market segments. The group was formed in 1918. So we're celebrating 100 years in existence.
That's a long time.
Don't even play with us. We have the data to, prove it.
Yeah.
And we have a direct presence in 31 countries on the African continent, so a really big animal. And we have indirect presence in emerging markets such as Lebanon, Malaysia, the Philippines, Saudi Arabia, and India. Wow. And then, of course, like you would expect from an animal like Sanlam, we have our developed markets niche boutiques in, New York, which you must have. And then we have in Ireland, Dublin to be specific, in Sydney, Australia, as well as in the United Kingdom. So we are global. Our group operations are really managed across 5 business sectors or clusters, which is your Sanlam Personal Finance, which is really dealing with your high net worth clients.
Sure.
Emerging markets, which we form a part of course, outside of South Africa. Sanlam Investments, which we obviously are a part of as well, as Sanlam Investments Namibia. Sanlam Corporate, and then, what everybody knows is Santam, for your short-term insurance. So in that space, the investment space, we are one of the leading and the most biggest asset managers on the continent and in Southern Africa, as it were. So we're going to be I'm talking to you about Unitrust today.
Yes.
But that is only one of 5 product segments.
One of 5?
One of 5. We also play in the segregated space. We play in the unlisted space, which is your property and your debt management. Segregated, as I said, guaranteed space, which is really more for your pension funds.
Yeah.
And then, of course, asset liability matching as well.
Yeah.
So we're not a small stable. We're not a post office. We really settled on the continent, and we have a lot to offer to our client base.
You are indeed a very huge, very big animal. Okay, global and that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's talk about one of them, and that's of course Unitrust, like you mentioned. What is the difference between investing in a Unitrust and investing in stock markets? As a matter of fact, let's start from what a unit trust is first before we get into the difference between investing in a unit trust and investing in stock markets.
Excellent. I like that way of thinking, because what happens, Nashan, is like there's this overglorification of the stock market.
Yeah.
But what we have with unit trust is really a fund that takes money from different investors, that could be you and I, pulls these funds together, this finance together, and really reinvests it or invests it into underlying assets.
Yeah.
So those underlying assets could be cash, which is within your banking system. There could be bonds, which is your government or your corporate bonds. There could be equity, which is shares within companies that are either listed or so.
Yeah.
It could be property.
Yeah.
And also, very interestingly, it could be all of these asset classes that I just mentioned in the global space, so offshore. And that is really what you do, is you take money from different investors through a fund. You would then invest it in these underlying assets. And basically what we see happening then is that this allows your investor, which is you and I, the man on the street, to basically diversify your investment portfolio, because through investing in one unit trust fund, you have access to these various types of assets, underlying assets.
Right.
Whereas with stocks, I pause here, you only are invested in equity.
Okay.
You are only investing in equity either on the NSX, Ulster or JSE or wherever. I mean, you could be offshore as well. So what we're doing with Unitrust is really coupling or bundling these investment opportunities and putting them in a fund, and you as the investor have a choice, of the apple cart. And then, of course, what we then do is we have these funds that are managed by our investment portfolios or managers, which are also called portfolio managers. So these are qualified investment specialists. So they're not guys that are learning this stuff off the internet. They're qualified and certified portfolio managers. And you as the investor, by having invested, you own a number of units within that specific fund, Nishan. And then the value of your unit is really determined by the value of the underlying assets.
Okay.
So that is the long and short. So we're bringing you closer to the market. We're taking out the issue of risk in that you're not doing this by yourself. You have a portfolio manager. You have someone like Stephanie that's supposed to report to you on how your funds are performing. And then, of course, we're also giving you this diversified, kind of underlying assets, and you can choose which fund best suits your risk profile.
Nice.
And then, that's really what we're doing. And that is why we're saying, it's better for especially your ordinary Namibian to access Unitrust as opposed to, kind of going on these crazy apps that we have going around.
Let's talk about the safety aspect of Unitrusts. I mean, there are a lot of get-rich-quick schemes going on. Is money really safe in a Unitrust?
So, I mean, and I, you would be excused for thinking, is this another Ponzi scheme? So strangely enough, and I think very important to mention on air, is that, the Unitrust industry, and this is also called your collective investment schemes.
Sure.
The earliest laws on this goes back to 1938. So it is a very well-regulated industry. We do have a regulator, NAMFISA.
Sure.
And they make no excuse about making sure that we comply with compliance and statutory obligations as required by their act, and also the latest act that we see coming through. So in that space, from a regulatory perspective, very well regulated. It's not a fly-by-night scheme. I think what is also very important from a financing and kind of separate, entity perspective is that the funds of our investors are kept in what we call a separate bank custody account. So, and that account is really not affected by, kind of service provider failures. And that is, of course, over and above the fact that our management committee, so each fund would have a management committee, which is a ManCo. They have, except your statutory obligations under the acts that NAMFISA obviously regulates, we also have our contractual obligations that they have to comply with in terms of how these funds must behave, what are the parameters, what they can and cannot do in terms of dealing. So they also have a certain rules. And then, of course, our accountable, head, our CEO, has a very strict sense of rules that he has to comply with. But I think from a client perspective, people are always so concerned about, is my money safe? So what we do as Sanlam Investments, when you become our client, Nishan, you open your account with us, you provide us with your banking details as well as a bank confirmation letter from a bank that says that, in fact, Nishan does have this account with us. When you disinvest, which is our nice term for withdrawing funds, we will not pay it to any account but the one that you provided and that was confirmed. So from that perspective, if money was to flow out of your investor account, it would have to flow into a bank account that was provided by you and that was confirmed by your bank. So that is just an extra kind of buffer that we've put in to further safe to keep our clients' money.
A lot of enlightenment when it comes to that part of things. Let's talk about how the ordinary Namibian can use unit trusts or unit trust to unlock wealth.
So this is what wakes me up in the morning. This is why I had a career change like halfway through my 20s. So I think at a client level, it's very important that we as a business, as an asset manager, understand what is the risk temperament of our clients. So that is why we insist on a risk profile being generated by our financial advisors when they engage clients on our product. And this is for two reasons. So you could have a client that has a temperament, a mannerism where they're very careful with their money, super careful. So that kind of client, you don't want to put in a situation where they experience, these massive drops and rises, right? So, but then you also find clients on the other end, and surprisingly, these are the younger clients that understand the risk-reward trade-off. So they are guys that are saying, no, there's going to be short-term volatility, but over the long term, I should have a higher return because I'm invested over a longer period. Now, a lot of asset managers cannot respond to that need. At Sanlam Investments, we have 7 funds that can do that. So what we're able to do is we're able to cater to your client that is super careful, that wants complete capital protection, that doesn't want to see a lot of volatility. And we really give those funds, those clients, our funds that's called the Sanlam Namibia Money Market Fund, the Sanlam Namibia Floating Rate Fund, or the Active Fund. So those are the funds that, those kind of clients can really invest in and get kind of, their share of the pickings within those three funds. Now, if you're talking to a young gentleman that understands, there might be short-term volatility here, but I understand over the medium term I should see some uptake. We also have funds for you. So there we are playing with your, the Sanlam Namibia inflation-linked fund that is actually performing quite well in light of recent events. We also have our All Namibian Fund, which is a flagship, proudly Namibian fund that only invests in, Namibian underlying assets. So those are really for those players. I understand there's going to be a bit of volatility, but I'm not too scared about the process. And then you get the guys like me and you, Nashan, that say, you know what, go all in. Let's do this. Let's go big. So for those clients, and those are really what we consider to be our more assertive clients, we have the Balance Fund that gives you your share of stocks, bonds, as well as equity. Now, the moment you talk about equity, you're going to see volatility. And then we have our General Equity Fund that is a purely equity fund. So there you're going to see volatility for real. And then, of course, all of these funds, we have the Global Fund that is really where you can invest offshore. So first of all, we're large enough and we have enough leverage and muscle to cater to all Namibian clientele, whether you are a careful investor that is cautious, or whether you're the guys that say, I understand over the longer term, there's going to be shorter term volatility, but over the longer term, bigger return. I know that's something that we usually joke about in the office is it's not about timing the markets, because a lot of people are timing the markets. They try to get in when things are going well and then try to jump out. It's not about timing the markets. It's about your time spent in the market. So the longer you're invested for, Nashan, the more space you give yourself to do two things. Number one, to see your best investment view, which is really the duration, your longest possible duration for investment, but also to give the compounding effect, time to take effect. Because what happens is a lot of these funds, or all of our funds actually, declare dividend at certain intervals. So it could be monthly, it could be quarterly, it could be biannually or annually. Now you as the investor have the option to say, cash out to me, or reinvest my dividend. Now if you reinvest your dividend, of course, that then forms part of your capital amount. And that's where you see that exciting story about $100 becomes 110, becomes 170. 100%. So that is the two things that we're really playing with. And at Sanlam Investments, we give this to you at a very low cost. I mean, our annual service fee is about 2%. We give you this diversified risk because we have all of these different 7 funds. We are giving you access to professionals such as myself and our financial advisors that you can contact and ask anything about your investment. And we have the widest range of products that can give you an investment period stretching from now to 10 to 20 years.
In terms of wealth generation, how does Sanlam Investments specifically contribute to that journey?
So I think at group level, our whole vision is really to help our customers or our clients live with confidence. And that is the story across the group. And I think we do that as different business units. We do that in different ways. So living with confidence could include within the risk space, it could be protecting your client's wealth. That would be through our risk and our insurance products. But certainly, Nashan, in this day and age, there must be an avenue for generating wealth. A lot of people talk about, but why must something dreadful happen before I can access? Well, no. We have a product for that. That is Sanlam Investments that's going to help you through Unitrust. To, in your lifetime and while you're alive, enjoy the fruits of your labor. For as little as $500. I think we spend more than that on weekends. So we see as a business that part of helping our clients live with confidence also means generating wealth for them. And we are truly a Namibian. We are a localized team. We're a local asset manager. We have 5 investment professionals. So this is by Namibians, and we understand the Namibian narrative because we're homegrown. We're supported by a staff complement of 13, most of which are female, and I love females within the business space, just for client interfacing. I think women are better. And that's just, from a business perspective, but I think I must reiterate, the competitive advantage that we have from a product perspective is because we form part of the largest Sanlam group, Nishan, we're able to also leverage off the skills and knowledge of our South African teams, investment teams, as well as, the guys that I've mentioned in the UK, as far as our house view goes. So we're very quick off the blocks in terms of information, and in this business, information is a commodity. So knowing things first goes a long while. We're able to present this to our clients at affordable prices. So like I said, our lowest monthly contribution in the event that you have a monthly deduction is $500. I know people that spend more. So it's $500. If you're going to be paying over a lump sum, the lowest amount is $2,000 that you can pay once off.
Okay.
Right? And then we have a very low, annual service fee of 2%. And the reason why we can do that is because most of all of our funds are so big. We already have so many investors in. So that immediately brings down the cost. We charge no administration fee for any intra-account, kind of movement if you're transferring funds between your accounts, or whether you're, using us as a session, or, any kind of account details updates. And also we charge a very minimal to no transaction fee. I think it really isn't even felt on our clients' pockets when you do disinvest. So I think we come to the market very, very competitive. We come in affordable, and therefore we consider ourselves to be accessible, and that's how we contribute to making sure Namibians can generate wealth.
I think the next time I'm going to step out of the studio, which is obviously tonight, I think I'm going to live with a little bit more confidence going forward, because this is very insightful. A lot of things that I'm actually picking up that I wasn't quite aware of. But I'm also going to be very wary of the fact that I cannot do it alone. So how can an ordinary Namibian get assistance in their investment journey?
Right. So, and this is probably the most important part. Like, you cannot do it all. Young people prefer to do it alone, mind you, and we have a solution for them as well.
Okay.
But as a responsible financial service provider, we consider client education and therefore financial advisory services to be a key part of our client value proposition. So we want to journey with you through your wealth generation process. So what we have is we have our Sanlam financial advisors and brokers whose core functions also include understanding your client's insurance and investment needs. So you have to know your client. Within my space, investment management, you really have to do that risk profile so that you know what kind of investor. Is it a careful investor, a cautious investor, or moderate or assertive? And then once you have that knowledge, you need to be able to provide sound financial advice. Link the client with the correct product. And this is really what our financial advisors do. Then it's about educating and sensitizing the client about the product offering, of which my product forms a part, Unitrusts. And I'm actually putting my head on the block that they do. I think they do. And then, of course, I think the most important step for us is then to onboard the client. So to help the client, fill in the necessary forms, to get the client onto our system, to get them to open their investor account, and then basically to journey with the client, on their journey to wealth. The other thing is we obviously provide all of our advisors with necessary information to pass on to clients, on a monthly basis, as it were. But like I said, there are people that don't want that. I think especially after COVID, a lot of people have gone digital. So for that niche of the market, we've said, okay, fine, we've launched what we call Smart Invest, which is our version of an online banking app that has an Apple, kind of a shopping cart spin. So what you can do is you go on the app, it's on the Sanlam website. You go in there, it's kind of like a shopping cart experience. You see our best performing funds first. You can take a pick. You will indicate how much you want to, kind of contribute on a monthly basis. Give the necessary banking information, upload the necessary documentation, and Bob's your uncle, you have an investor account with us. That's just onboarding, digitalization as they call it. And then, of course, we have secure services for the guys that want to really keep an active track on their portfolio. So you would then register on secure services. Also very recently launched, mind you. No, we are moving. We move
like that.
So, those clients would then be able to basically, transact and view their investor portfolio from anywhere in the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Look, I'm enjoying this session so much. Very informative. I'm sure we've got so much to talk about, but unfortunately for this very particular session, we've run out of time. And it's safe to say that I'll be seeing you again soon.
For sure. I'm back here anytime.
There we go. Okay, so share with us how can people reach you. You mentioned your website. Perhaps you want to share with us those details in case somebody wants to make an inquiry about certain something. How can we reach you?
So yeah, I think it's so important for clients to get in touch with us. So of course we have a call center.
Yeah.
Right. So that number is 061 294 7417. I'll repeat it. Someone did say repeat it, please.
Yeah.
So 061 294 7417. That's, you can contact us or our call center, and you'll be assisted there by our client services personnel. Yeah. Or you can email us as things go. So you can email us at collective at sanlam.com.na. So that's collective, COLLECTIVE at sanlam.com.na. And you can literally pop any query that has to do with investments, and we'll get right back to you.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Stephanie de Klerk, business development consultant at Sanlam Investments. Thank you so much for joining us for Wealth Talks tonight. Have yourself a fantastic evening, and we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Nishan. It was a pleasure.
And that is Wealth Talks for tonight on 99 FM.
99 FM's Wealth Talks
was brought to you by Sanlam. Plan now for peace of mind later.